Before the legendary year of 2015, we had two video games, Military Shooter Guy and Military Shooter Guy Zombies Edition, and Chucky Egg 2, with these games combined containing a whopping total of 3 colors, all of which you can thank Chucky Egg for. This is an exaggeration obviously, before 2015 there were 2 good games, though I do think it's fair to say a huge amount of mainstream games, if not the majority, suffered from a lack of color and creativity in their art. Maybe you had fun calling kids fucking idiots while playing Military Shooter Guy online, and good on you for doing that, kids are indeed fucking idiots, but if you took some art from this game and put it on your wall, it certainly wouldn't grab my attention. However, there is one company who couldn't care less about the industry standard or your expectations from a video game. Being out of touch is pretty much Nintendo's superpower, and while that does sometimes have horrific outcomes, sometimes it means they simply produce what they think is cool. Which brings us to Splatoon, one of the greatest funky fresh IPs to come out since Super Mario, and honestly nothing as exciting has happened to the video game industry since. If you want to support these videos, you can become a channel member, by the way, or I will send Chucky Egg after you. I've talked a lot about Splatoon, the third game in particular, and why the content of the games themselves is so good and well thought out. But today we're here to focus on the artwork created for these games, both in the early concept phases before the games even existed, and later on alongside the finished product as promotional material. But hold up, because this art barely even looks like the game at all, and that's probably what I love about it more than anything. We've been staring at 3D models of squids for like 8 years now. We know what these games look like, so why not make something fresh and original which uses the medium it's in to its fullest advantage? Look at this promotional image for Fallout 4. Sure, some parts of this picture are worth looking at, but it pretty much just looks like the game, which doesn't have much of an inspired style to begin with. Now look at this picture. I don't actually know which picture I'm going to choose yet, but I'm sure it looks sick. Now to be clear, I don't think Fallout 4 is a bad game or even has bad art. These are very much cherry-picked examples to prove my point that this is better than this. The promotional art for Splatoon isn't something a video game can even look like. It's in this painterly style with texture and rough edges and big chunky shapes of color. It's kind of flat, but it also works perfectly in perspective. The rendering is simplified, but the understanding of light and color is clear with reflections, subsurface scattering, atmospheric perspective, and really awesome textures. The color choices are so bold and purposeful, always focusing on a great use of bright, contrasting colors, just like the games. Splatoon is a game about style and energy, but this only really shines through when you're playing it. The excitement you're getting comes from your own input, and the artwork captures how that feels and how we see our inklings in our minds, rather than how they really look. This may not be the Splatoon that shows up on my monitor, but it is the Splatoon that's in my heart, and if you disagree, then fuck you. He is coming for you right now. Finished art isn't the only thing that matters though. In fact, none of this could exist without the rough concepts that got us to this point. What you see in-game and in promotional material is only the tip of the iceberg. Splatoon's art and design goes so much further with a ton of different drafts and ideas, some of which turned into the final design and some of which were completely forgotten. If you're a fan of Splatoon's art or just art in general, I'd highly recommend the Splatoon art books. They're full of so many amazing concepts, and I love how the notes left by the artists are all translated, giving you a better look into their design process. Most importantly, the fun of Splatoon's design remains throughout the whole thing. There's really never a dull moment or drawing. Even creating a silhouette of an inkling used for scale is given some personality. By the way, if you do want to check these books out, and I highly recommend that you do, you can use the links in the description of this video. But no matter how good you are, there's always room for improvement. Unless you're me, of course. I peaked when I was 9 with Pokemon Fights.mp4. Yep. Anyway though, the art has probably changed more between the games than you'd realize at first, with the difference between 1 and 3 being extremely clear just by the art style alone. Over time it's become less detailed and rendered, with more of a focus on simple, clear shapes. The newer art looks a lot better to me personally. If you look at the faces in particular, the Splatoon art gets quite messy, and I think the cleaner look of the recent art is just a bit nicer. I also want to take a moment to appreciate the actual artists behind all of this. It's been hard to figure out exactly who's responsible for what. If you Google Splatoon artists, it just comes up with, yeah. But Splatoon's art director, Sato Inoue, is undoubtedly a huge reason all of this art is the way that it is. You can follow him on Instagram at Tori-kun, and it's so cool to see what has become the Splatoon art style used in his personal work. He's such a master of texture and lighting using chunky shapes and brushstrokes, with amazing gesture, perspective, and energy to everything as well. I mean, he's not quite as good as me just yet, but I'm sure he'll get there soon enough. For more over-analyzing visuals, make sure you go to the Analyzing Visuals playlist. Pretty appropriate name. Or if you're only here for Splatoon, make sure you check out the Splatoon Analysis playlist. If you want to improve your art for free, you can join the Learning to Draw Discord server, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and you can become a channel member if you would like. So that's about it for this video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.